So seeing as the 2023 Ballon d'Or ceremony is right around the corner, I think it's only right that we take a look back at some of the most previous Ballon d'Or awards, because despite the Ballon d'Or being one of the most prestigious awards you can win, things don't always go that well. With some controversial winners in the past that didn't really deserve it. So today I'm going to be taking a look at a list of 10 players who were completely robbed of the Ballon d'Or, leaving the worst robbery until last of course, so make sure you stick around for that one. And without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off the list is a player that you might not expect, and that's none other than Portuguese legend Deco, who was arguably robbed of a Ballon d'Or in 2004, because the midfielder's heroic effort saw Porto win 4 trophies that season, including the Portuguese league title and Porto's second Champions League in their history, after scoring the second goal in a 4-0 win over Monaco. And not only that, Deco also won the UEFA Club Footballer of the Year that year, and was named the Champions League's best midfielder. And despite getting 29 assists in all competitions, this wasn't enough to even win the Ballon d'Or, finishing second place behind AC Milan's Shevchenko. And despite Shevchenko winning the Serie A that year, many people say he didn't deserve the award at all, and that Shevchenko only won due to big club bias, as well as a bias towards attackers. Moving on to number 9 is none other than football's greatest entertainer, Ronaldinho, and yes, I know he's already won a Ballon d'Or, but Ronaldo could have had back-to-back Ballon d'Ors, missing out on the 2006 Ballon d'Or to Cannavaro. And don't get me wrong, Cannavaro had a world-class defensive display at the World Cup, but many agree that Cannavaro wasn't that great in Italy for Juventus. But Ronaldinho on the other hand, well, he was the main man in Barcelona winning the La Liga and helping the Catalan club win their first Champions League title in 14 years, having one of his best seasons ever, getting 26 goals in 45 games. And number 8 on the list is someone who also could have won the Ballon d'Or that same year, and who am I talking about? None other than the greatest midfielder ever, Zinedine Zidane, with the general consensus being that the Frenchman should have won his second Ballon d'Or over Cannavaro, having had a great year with Real Madrid and a seismic impact in bringing his nation to the World Cup final. But there was one thing that hurt Zidane's reputation, as Zidane was all over the news in 2006, but for the wrong reasons, having headbutted Marco Materazzi in the chest in the World Cup final, leading him to be sent off in his last ever game as a player, producing one of football's most iconic moments that fans will never forget. And number 7 is another Ballon d'Or winner, who could have added a 6th Ballon d'Or to his trophy cabinet in 2018. And who am I on about? One of the GOATs of the game, Cristiano Ronaldo, who to be honest could have had his 6th Ballon d'Or in 2018, because the story is that there were many shouts for someone like Ronaldo to win the Ballon d'Or that year, winning the Champions League in his last season as a Real Madrid player, having a legendary campaign as well, scoring some legendary goals along the way in the Champions League, like his bicycle kick against Juventus. And CR7 ended that season with 44 goals in 44 games. There's not really much more he could do, but instead Ronaldo lost the Ballon d'Or to his Real Madrid teammate Luka Modric in one of the most controversial Ballon d'Or awards ever, because don't get me wrong, Modric had a great year personally, as well as having an amazing World Cup run with his nation Croatia, leading them all the way to the final. And again, don't get me wrong, Luka Modric is undoubtedly one of the best midfielders of all time, but in 2018, Modric only registered 3 goals and 6 assists that whole season in the World Cup, Champions League and the La Liga. And I know it's not always all about goals, but it makes you wonder, did Modric really deserve it over Ronaldo? Number 6, Virgil van Dijk. In the 2018-19 season, Virgil van Dijk was the best defender in the world. In his second season in Merseyside, the Dutchman was incredible, winning the Champions League with Liverpool and getting the most clean sheets that season. He was a brick wall, quite literally, as Van Dijk went 65 games without being dribbled past, having one of the best defensive seasons in history. And with Van Dijk being one of the favourites to win the Ballon d'Or, he was about to become the second defender to ever win the award. But a certain man from Argentina had something to say about that. Messi picked up his 6th Ballon d'Or in 2019, and despite having a great year with Barca, many thought Van Dijk was completely robbed of the award, and to be honest, it's hard to disagree with that one. And for number 5, well, Messi strikes again. And listen, don't get me wrong, for me he's the greatest player ever, but to say Lewandowski did not deserve to win the Ballon d'Or that year would be considered madness, with Lewandowski winning the treble with Bayern Munich, being the main talisman in their team, scoring 55 goals in 47 games, as well as winning UEFA's Player of the Year. So surely he should get the Ballon d'Or for that, but no, it wasn't enough. And moving on to number 4 is one of the best midfielders of all time, who arguably should have and could have won the Ballon d'Or in 2010, playing a vital role in Barcelona's La Liga title and was the key in winning Spain's first ever World Cup. And the Spaniard etched his name in Spain's history books by scoring the winning goal in extra time in the final against Netherlands. So surely that's enough. Well, no, someone won it again. And who won it? Messi. Yeah, Messi won it again. But to be fair, Messi did have a great season, take nothing away from him, but it really does make you wonder how much Ballon d'Ors the likes of Iniesta and even Xavi could have won if Messi and Ronaldo weren't around. And before we get into the top 3, if you guys could please do me a massive favour and hit the subscribe button if you're new around here, much appreciated. And number 3 is in 2010 again, because Iniesta wasn't the only midfielder who was arguably robbed of the award, as Dutchman Wesley Sneijder had something to say about that. Being promoted to win the award by many fans around the world, having come off one of the most legendary seasons ever with Inter Milan by winning the unprecedented treble and showing his class on the international stage, being the main talisman for Netherlands, helping them reach the World Cup final. But this robbery was nothing compared to number 2 on our list, and for that we have to take it back to 2013, where Bayern Munich legend Frank Ribery was robbed of the Ballon D'Or award, coming off of one of the best individual seasons ever, because like his former teammate Lewandowski, Ribery won it all in 2013, winning the treble with Bayern Munich, but all his efforts were still unable to stop CR7 from winning his second Ballon d'Or. But to be fair, Ronaldo did have a great season, breaking multiple records and scoring 51 goals in 47 games. But the controversy was really over Ronaldo's team achievements that year, because Ronaldo didn't win anything that year compared to Ribery's treble. The number 1 on our list is probably the worst of them all, and to be honest, it still amazes me how this guy never won the Ballon d'Or in his career. And I'm sure you've guessed who I'm on about right now, the one and only Thierry Henry, who was completely robbed of the Ballon d'Or in 2003, as Henry was the favourite to win the Ballon d'Or that year, having had a legendary season for the Gunners, setting the record for the first person to score and assist 20 in a single Premier League season. But with Nedved doing the double in his first year at Juventus, the voters sort of just ignored Henry and saw Nedved as the worthy winner, leaving Henry without the Ballon d'Or he so truly deserved. But there you have it, those are 10 of the biggest Ballon d'Or robberies of all time. Let me know what you think of my list in the comments and what changes you would make. And if you're looking for another video, why not check out this video here on 10 footballers who betrayed their clubs. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Discussing Ball. Don't forget to subscribe either.